Evening, gentlemen. Welcome to Man's Hour, episode 28 on mids. I'm joined by two gentlemen of power here. First, we'll start with Time Stealer. How are you, sir?
When you're a man.
I love it. Every time.
It gets me every single time. It really does.
What is this intro? My God.
It's fantastic. Thank you to Chris Gard, Morbikai.
Chris Gard, the official bard of the dissident right.
Indeed.
Oh, man.
He does a fantastic job. And then, of course, making his Man's Hour debut, Geo. How are you, sir?
Yo, I'm all right. I'm pulling double duty today, but I'm still wilding over the intro. So it me off guard a little bit.
No,
it's like Man of War type of vibe.
Yeah, exactly. You know, Ryan Stone had the exact same reaction when he came on the show the first time. He's like, "What the hell did I just watch?" It's like, yeah, it's fantastic. It's a fun one for sure. Unfortunately, Marcus Furious screwed up his dates, so he will not be joining us, which is sad because the man quite literally knows every single woman on Twitter. So he would have been very valuable for this conversation. But alas, we'll get him on again sometime soon.
It was Australia Day, maybe that's why he screwed up his day.
Oh yeah, of course. He's busy. Yeah. He's busy celebrating, you know.
They're protesting. It's like racist, apparently.
Oh boy, of course it is.
Australia Day is racist. So
yeah. What isn't at this point? You know? So gentlemen, we are here to discuss mids. And I was kind of talking about this before we went live here. When did like this terminology really start to pick up in the mainstream kind of deal? I mean, Geo, you're the resident internet historian here. You know, you think like the last year or so, maybe year and a half, it really became like mainstream?
Yeah, like year and a half became mainstream. Like I was saying before we went live, you would see like certain manosphere articles, like especially Pua's, like talk about mid. Of course, like the uber popular, like, you know, older is like the 1 out of 10, right? Or the 10 scale. And I think like the mid-range was always like, not that I like really, I paid more attention to like the MRA than I did the Puas, but maybe that was my mistake. Who knows? But like it seems that like the battleground was always around like that. What would you say, 4 to 7 range? That was always like, and I think like rating women, like I think like the scale, like the mids complicate the scale, in my opinion, because the mids complicate your perception of beauty. But in terms of just like the genealogy, like the last like real, like I would say 2 years from now, like 2 years now has been like the mid, like there was so many, like I could remember during the biomedical state of exception era, the previous 2 years, I remember like so many, maybe because everyone's in their room, who knows, but like there were so many tweets about like women like from TikTok or whatever, or on Twitter, they would like post selfies and it was like they would go viral about like, how dare you call me a mid? Like, do you remember that one fake Hawaiian girl, the woke fake Hawaiian pronouns girl?
Yeah, I think I know who you're talking about.
Didn't she kick off? No, she didn't kick off the West Elm Caleb thing. She had some other thing where she had the video. Like, if you catcall women, you're like, okay, those videos are kind of kino, I gotta admit. Like she had like, if she like didn't have like the halitosis tongue, she would look pretty like cute for a mid girl. But she had that video like, I'm a witch, and if you catcall women, you're a beta. You catcall women, women aren't gonna meet you, blah blah blah. And she had this other one. It was like funny, like that's the tragedy of art hoes that are like progressives, because they could be like very funny, interesting, and I would say quirked up, type of women that. But the problem is of course their brains have been rotted out by ideology. But anyways, this girl, she had this tweet that like went super viral. Like I'm talking like over 200,000 likes, over like so many thousands of replies. Of course, like all the bros, like all the E-Ray was dunking on her. All the Amarnites were out posting, various gore threads and stuff, where she like took a selfie. And she's got, like freckle face. She's not like that bad, right? She's, like maybe like 5 or 6. Mm-hmm. And she's like, how dare they call me mid? I'm a mid? And everyone's like, yes, you are the definition of a mid.
That insult really gets to women like no other. Yeah. It really just cuts right to the core, doesn't it?
I think,
to paraphrase a great man, You can call the e-girl a whore, a prostitute, a slag, and it just runs off her like water off a duck's back. But call her a mid and she recoils. I have been discovered.
Yeah, it makes them go postal almost.
Watch as they recoil, as if to say I've been found out.
Yeah, they've been found out, because that's obviously what most women are. Like, if you call them ugly, it doesn't bother them because they know they're not ugly, because they're not. Right? But they're not truly beautiful either. And that's what really gets to them, because they know they're not truly beautiful either. They know they are mid. It is possibly the most brutally effective phrase that's been invented in quite some time. I think
it's almost like a form of negging, almost, is really what it is. For people who are not
the reason why it's so effective though is because it's true. That's the thing. It's just true.
No, but just because it's true doesn't mean that they're not beautiful. It's just that it means that they have a certain, like, men have a certain taste, and that they can find their own like thing. It's like what it's like what Oscar Wilde said about, true beauty takes a little bit of ugliness, like, a particularity.
It is also the thing with the mid where, like you said, different men have different tastes. So a mid, and also you've got to. It's quite good for some girls have the face but not the body, and some girls have the body but not the face.
The butter face.
The butter face, but she's got like a very on point body. Or maybe if you're a boob guy, she's got big tits and you're into that. But she's still mid, but then your personal taste push up what you might rate her. You see this on Twitter a lot, to be honest.
Oh, God.
Mm-hmm.
You were saying something, Red Hot? Because I have this other point that adds to yours. But
Yeah. I was just talking about how, it's, for those who aren't aware of like Negs, the idea is like, so you make a cold approach and you say something to a chick that is not directly involved with her appearance, but it's something that isn't, simping over her, basically saying, oh, you're so pretty, because literally everyone is doing that, so like a classic thing you could say would be, something about her shoes or something like that. Something that she could have fixed herself. Like, you don't want to go up to a chick and say like your ass is fat or something like that. It's never going to work, but you want to pick up something that, she could have easily chosen not to do. So like a popular one people would use is like, oh, like my aunt has that same dress or something like that. And it gets her to be like very, self-conscious about it. And like mid is like kind of the, what you're looking at in the same deal there. It's like you're not horrible, you're not ugly, you're just mid, you're just in the middle.
I think
most
like
women are.
Like vast majority. But I think like with mid it's so devastating because if you call a woman ugly, like they could justify in their minds that you're just like a troll or you're a pig or whatever. Mm-hmm. But also it gives them like you can easily ignore an insult. I mean, not easily, but like you can play it off as like something that isn't real, because like most women have had relationships or sexual partners, blah, blah, blah. So they know that objectively it's not true, that they're like totally hideous. Like there's very few like genuine femcells around. They exist, but there's few of them. Like, I mean, I don't know, maybe you have to go to Crystal Cafe or whatever to find them. But but when you call them beautiful, it's like that's also like that's not aspirational for women. That's like, you know what I mean? Like they're not motivated by that. And I think like the problem when you call them mid though, you're calling them average. You're calling them plain Jane. You're not calling them something exceptional. But women don't want to be like, it seems that women don't want to be called something exceptional, because if you call them like, you're beautiful, you're amazing, Schnookums, oh my God, that's not like, that's obviously like, you're like, I mean, I play around with that idea on Twitter, but it's not like going to get you anywhere, because most women all their lives have heard this now, especially if you're like a millennial woman. But if you call them mid though, that like really is like a brain parasite that just bores into them. But the thing is though, what women don't get, in my opinion, like I'm defending the mids here. I think I'm very much pro mid. Like a mid in the home is a happy, like a midwife is a happy woman in a home, right? Or whatever the Chinese proverb is. Right? But I'm very pro mid because, like, okay, not just the fact that most women are mid, but I think that it's sort of like finding, it's like what the Zen Buddhists say, finding taste in the bland, like finding something that's truly exceptional in a woman that maybe wouldn't be given like the star treatment that like a 10 out of 10. I personally believe that like true 10s out of 10s don't like really exist. Because with women, like you're never going to get, and I think men are like this as well. You're never going to get like a true beauty that has an amazing personality. I mean, maybe you do, but it's either like you take a woman who's maybe like kind of a mid and not like stellar in terms of appearance, but you know, in terms of a wife, in terms of like a mother, in terms of like someone who jives with you, like you take the deal, right? But that's why I think mids, there's so much potential there, because with mids you can grow into the mid. The mid can be something that's special to you, whereas a beautiful 10 out of 10 woman, like let's face it, a lot of beautiful women, they say that they're lonely because men are just like turned off by them for good reason.
They're very what you'll find a lot actually is that the girls are like smoke shows or like 9s and 10s. They tend to have like less body counts and less experience with men than even the mids do, because guys are just so intimidated to even go and make an approach with them. You know, so this is not an uncommon occurrence at all. And you actually even see this with things like OnlyFans chicks, where the girls that actually make the most money are the girls that kind of have like the mid girl next door kind of vibe. Yeah,
I was like, just
who makes a lot of money on OnlyFans? You know who makes a lot of money on OnlyFans? Kathy Riezowitz, and she's like a goyle. Really? She's like not even a mid. Sorry, I cut you off time, Steve.
No, I was just going to say the girl next door phenomenon is something that people in the media have been aware of for a long time. Back in the day, when I was a teenager, we used to have in the UK these things called lads mags.
The lad culture, page 3 of
but there was these ones like Zoo and Nuts, they were called. They'd have like a bit of sport, bit of jokes, bit of like bit of like movie tech.
Those are illegal now in the UK.
Wouldn't surprise me, yeah. And they don't sell them anymore because they've kind of gone out of favor. But they would always have like the lads mags girls, you know, like topless girls. And they were never really like stunning supermodels. They specifically went for girls.
They're Abby Winters girls.
Exactly. The girl next door quality, where if you were, really lucky, you might actually be able to pull one of these girls. And obviously they all had nice tits and stuff. And, and they were also a bit more curvy than, a lot of the actresses and the models, because that's what men actually like. Well, straight men actually like. And I think this also explains the success.
The little Englander working on the docks wants that, like fertile.
It also explains the success of Jennifer Connelly in WWYD.
Oh, that was totally rigged. That was AA manipulation against me and Furious. I'm sorry. I don't accept that. I mean, AA. Listen, I'm a fattest soldier, but still that tournament just pissed me off. It
JD in the chat. JD is one of my strongest soldiers. He mentions Lucy Pinder, who mid-face, but huge milkers. Yeah.
Our good friend of the channel, Joshua Ham, he brings up a good point here.
Yeah, I was gonna say Josh has a good point.
Yeah. So. Bringing up that basically everyone has seen this meme. It's like the two panels, like the kind of like nerdy like office guy goes up and says, "Looking good, Kathy. Call HR." And then like the Chad comes up, "Looking good, Kathy," and she blushes. I mean, this is something that we all know, of course. And then all of a sudden, this has really been popping off the last week or so. Everyone's talking about like the chicks at the gym that are filming.
Yeah, because that one e-girl, the one OnlyFans e-girl. Yeah,
it's so funny.
Yeah, it's just every time
psycho energy,
complaining about it. So.
An underage 21-year-old. Well, I guess like Zoomer chicks probably do. I guess like 21-year-olds now probably have the mental capacity of a 15-year-old. I don't know. Like a lot of 21-year-old men have the mental capacity of a 15-year-old. So
I have the mental capacity of a 15-year-old.
Well, I mean, we're here talking about
conclusions.
We're here rating women, so how juvenile can you be? But all men do it. Obviously this week, a good friend of the channel, Poe, the person running her Wham an Hour, crossover this week. And she wanted us to bring up the question of, is it shallow that guys will just rate women this way? Because
totally.
Any guy who gets into like a group chat with his buddies or something like that, this is literally something that everyone does. This locker room talk is
I don't even think it's shallow. It's just men being men. And
that's what I was going to say. It's like
aesthetic appreciation.
Me and Prude are in one group chat with a bunch of like big accounts like Billy Pratt, and like literally every single day it's about rating different women that Billy posts online. Like that's all. Like apart from shilling each other's work, it's about that. Like
based.
Yeah, but Billy Pratt's been going off like the last year or so with the was it the Peach Mom, like the oh my god,
or the let's all remember his account, R.I.P. to a legend, Maguman versus, but Billy also got flack for that against the Right Stuff dating app chick, the fat one.
Yeah. That was a fun Man's Hour episode we did times together.
Oh, that was a legendary Man's Hour episode with the wench. The Theo pal, as she's known.
Yeah, the barmaid, you know.
Barmaid.
Apparently she's married to a Chad, so there you go.
Is she?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
There you go. You know, I made the joke when that app first got announced that number one, it's false advertising because the hottest girls you're going to see are the ones that are in this ad and are actually not on the ad. Actually not on the ad.
They should have took e-girls. They should have took like the Catholic e-girl summit and just made them the ad. Except for Pariah.
All the girls in the advert were basically mid, which is kind of the
that was funny too.
That's the point, though.
Like
they should have Chew on Head is like the leading girl. Oh my god!
Could have invited.
You know what's funny?
Could invite Gagging for Lit to be on it.
Yeah, Gagging for Lit will be on it. Yeah.
Or Daughter of Albion. You know,
Daughter of Albion.
Daughter of Albion will be on it. We'll get like Tara from the grave. We'll get her. She's not actually dead, but I don't know. She's still around. We'll get Tara. We'll get who else can we get? We'll get maybe we'll bring back Rage After Storm. Let's see what she's doing. Bring Catherine D on it. But you know what's funny, about Shoe on Head is, a attorney friend on Twitter had this tweet about Shoe on Head like still looking like a teenager, and he called her a lib, right? And the fake frog, that guy that's dating her, the eudaimonia guy. I detest this guy. He's a fake frog. He has cold, terrible takes. He's not a real frog. And he said, I can guarantee you she's not a lib. Meaning that, like, basically the thesis is correct. That basically any e-girl will adopt the politics of the man she's sleeping with at that time.
Oh yeah. So, well, I mean that's like most all women in general, you know, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the red pill though, because you can't because if you look for an explicitly right-wing psycho woman, like a huntress type of woman, it's not going to work because they're too masculine focused. Like they're too, you know what I mean? Like they're too polluted by any, like, I hate to say it, but like the try hard pick me trad holistic grifter woman, like that one with the OnlyFans, it's not going to work. Like these women have impossible like we're talking about this today in the show, like trad women, unironically, like AA is correct. Trad women on Twitter that like LARP and have like a, some kind of grift. They have like they basically have like 90s feminist standards for men.
Oh yeah, that's very
true. Impossible. Yeah. Like no man could ever marry Holistic Honey, because Holistic Honey, she could be like broke and living in a car. Apparently she is broke and living in a car. And she, she ain't gonna, no Giga Chad couldn't even marry her, so. I don't mean to insult Holistic Honey, but you know what I mean. Well,
again, Joshua Ham.
Apparently, Mega got married, so there you go. She had to marry a British man to do it. So
many
for an Indian,
cases.
that's buckshot marrying a British man. So,
yeah.
Well, Josh,
big white PP. As I've said many times.
I love this comment here because it's just like, this was before the dark times, before the Empire, back when. Yeah.
Yeah. See, this is why I hate to say it, but it's not that like Joshua, he's Gen Xer, he's a veteran. Like he remembers a time when women were beautiful and wanted a family, and I think but the young man faces different pressures. But I mean, I still think that advice from older men is valuable, but it's just like it's not going like I think the horror that I've seen, it's incredible. It's even like trad women, it's like I look, I always say this, I always shill for him, even though like I'm not like of his flavor because I'm a simp, whatever. But Enzo on Twitter, Red Hawk, Enzo?
I think so, yeah.
Like, okay, he's like so black pilled. And he's consumed by women hatred, but yet
I know
he comes up with the most fire takes, the most fire content about relations between men and women. He like sees through the abyss and he comes out the other side with insight, and it's terrifying. But I can't subscribe to his worldview for obvious reasons. But it's Colonel Kurtz moment, exactly, Winston, Colonel Kurtz moment. But I think that advice from older men is good. But about the mids, though, we were talking about, to get back to the e-girls, the mids.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm just rambling right now.
I was going to bring up when we were talking before the stream about how the differences between how men and women rate the opposite sex.
Yeah.
I saw some graphs about this. I wish I'd saved them for this stream, actually. And basically, for men rating women, it's much like the bell curve mean, where it starts at the bottom and then it kind of goes up. And when you're at 5 out of 10, that's the highest point. And then it slopes back down again until you get to 10, and there's hardly any in the 10. Right? Fairly as you'd kind of like that.
Oh my god!
Well, across 1 to 10.
Well, this is a graph that Poe the person provided for me here, and this is kind of her take. That most women are mid. I do have to laugh how 5 and below is ugly. On this.
No, most men will take the 5 to 6 range.
Yeah, this is
we'll take the 4 to 6 range.
5 is like 4 between 4 and 6 is mid basically, as far as I'm concerned. And then 7, but she's got 7 right. And 8 and 9 is beautiful and 10 is gorgeous, but 5 is not ugly. Like sort of 1 to 3 is ugly. 1 to 2 even is ugly.
1 to 2 is ugly. Yeah.
A lot of guys in the manosphere these days, and I tend to subscribe to this line of thinking as well. Is that there's no 1s through 10s. It's just 0s and 1s. Is essentially what it is. So it's like would or would you not? I mean, you'll see this all the time, like especially like the crew of manosphere guys I hang out with, at least like once a day one of us is just gonna find some girl online and just say would.
That reminds me a bit of the ladder theory, which the ladder theory was some very, 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 very early proto manosphere stuff from sort of like 2000, which was the idea that men and women have ladders, and for men, they have one ladder, and every woman they've ever met is somewhere on that ladder in terms of would they bang them. Whereas for women, they have 2 ladders. There's the would bang or would not bang ladder. And no matter how high you get up on that would not bang ladder, you could be like, like her best friend who's like cuddling her and giving her like head kisses and pats. She's still not going to sleep with you because you're not on the wood bang ladder.
Well, what puts you on the wood ladder though?
Being a Chad, having a big dick like me.
No, but I mean realistically. I mean,
correct, Bull Rush, and thanks for showing up in the chat, man. Always good to see you.
Makes my dick hard. Exactly.
Yeah, that's the point. That's
very much
point.
So. Yeah.
No, but how does one cross over from the friend zone to like?
It's not anything one could quantify, Geo. It's this weird mixture of personal wealth, physical attractiveness, height, personal charisma. Sometimes ethnicity or race, penis size. I don't know why you two are laughing.
I thought penis size didn't really matter that much.
That's a lie.
The thing is like with all these kinds of things, like the meme that's going around all the time is, basically the shit from you see on like female dating strategies, like the 666, and largely
6 inches, 6 figures, 6 feet tall.
Yeah, exactly. And most of that stuff is largely bullshit because, like, especially it's funny.
You can charisma max. And you
Well, the thing is, they actually did a study about this. I forget the name of it, but they basically, so like 6 feet tall is only America metric system and stuff. So when they go abroad into Europe and they say 6 foot over there, there's 0 correlation to the women in Europe for 6 feet tall. So it's literally just a placeholder term for guy who's taller than me.
Apart from in the UK, because we still use feet and inches.
Oh, you guys do?
We use both because we're weird.
Yeah, so when they did the study, though, there was 0 correlation to the women in Europe who were using the metric system to the imperial system. So basically, it's just a filler term that that women have learned from social media usage that just means taller than me, is essentially what it is. And, also, this is a fun thing you can do as well. Like, how good are women at, like, spatial awareness? It's like a girl wouldn't know, like, what 6 feet tall or 6 feet long is, if it hit her right in the face. Now, it's just something that it's like one of those things you're supposed to say. It's like, oh, I'm supposed to like a tall guy. I'm supposed to like a rich man. But, if she's really into you, she'll think you're 6'10". They have no idea. They really don't.
Yeah, I was saying on stream today, this is how artists have managed to life hack this usual criteria, and especially the rich part, because for a variety of reasons, artists can give a woman immortality. That's why. For other reasons too, but I'm thinking of Bukowski here. Like he looked like a gremlin. He managed to pull like
he did.
young women. Like
I do think that personal charisma as a man is extremely important, and I see
Absolutely.
a lot of younger lads on Twitter always complaining all the time about women, and they just don't understand this. They don't get it. Like it's because you're just painfully autistic.
Yeah,
that's the problem you have.
That really is the way that you could shoot yourself in the foot the fastest. Is if you just do not have people skills.
You could be a Hyperborean, but if you're extremely autistic, it's only going to get you so far. You need
well so much of this stuff comes from and Geo, you'll know this, like our buddy Ryan Stone, he talks about this all the time, is that men being raised as defective women, and basically a lot of this comes from the fact that guys being raised by women just have it in their brains that women are attracted to the same things that men are, and it's not true. Like, looks are not the biggest thing when it comes to chicks. I mean, obviously, you can't be the back of a barn, you got to be, attractive, but, guys, we're visually oriented first. It doesn't matter, how, I guess you could say, like, how trad basically the chick is. Like, if she doesn't get the dick hard, it's not going to work. Looks get you in the door.
Even your accent and your mannerisms will get you a long way. I've gotten a long way just off my accent, to be honest. I'm not going to lie.
There you go.
It's seriously important.
Yeah, I mean, I'm going to be interested to test out my geomaxing skills when I'm across the pond in a couple months here. So I'll be kicking it around and prancing the UK. Yeah, that's what a lot of the guys, the MGTOW guys are talking about these days. It's like geomaxing. Like, you got to go abroad.
What is geomaxing precisely?
Geography maxing.
Yeah. Oh, I thought we were talking about geo as in you, as in giant geo. No, we're talking about geo. Well,
we could all take a note from Geo's book for his charisma, so that could be our geo.
There you go. I need to unironically write a book about fat game. That could be a good grift.
I used to work with a bloke who was fat, and he used to get laid all the time because he just charisma maxed. He just put all his points in charisma. And he would just have this heroic ability to just approach women and open with them really well.
That's crazy. I could never do that. Maybe I should, though. When I lose another 50 pounds, I'll do that. But I lost 50, so
go listen to a bunch of like old Patrice O'Neill, stuff like that.
Like he never pulled any really attractive women, but he just pulled like tons of mids. Like,
that is an attractive woman to a fat man. So exactly. In this day and age, yeah. No, but geomaxing, I mean, it's kind of a meme, though. It's kind of like a lot of like the critics of it would say that it's like, like yellow fever or whatever. But I think it is. I mean, it may be a meme because I think, like, look at the targets. Okay, like here's the reality is that a lot of like men think that Asian women or Slavic women are like more demure and feminine and subservient. That's not the case. That's not always the case. A lot of Asian women, they just have like, especially Vietnamese women or like Filipinas, they just have this weird like mind control over you. I know in Canada, I've seen this with my own eyes with guys, like older boomers that get married to like Filipino women.
I will say that East Asian women, they are more feminine on average.
They're more feminine, yeah, definitely.
They're definitely not more submissive and subservient. But they are definitely.
Oh, and Slavic women, forget about it. Like they'll literally like tear your heart, I'm like literally tear your heart out and sell it in an organ harvesting operation.
Yeah, if you're not successful with women in your own country, it's not going to get any easier for you going abroad. I mean, like the women themselves might be different, to some degree with, looks or, femininity or what have you. But at the end of the day, they're still women, and basically they all respond to the same things.
It does drive white women crazy, though. Like there was one.
That's my favorite part about it.
There was that one. That was that one. I think it was. I forget who it was. It may have been Cozy Griper, or it may have been Atrazine Griper that said that if America only let in immigration for hot like Latinas and Asian women, then white women would form SS units overnight.
Yeah, there's been a few different variations on that one. The one for Europe was that if they only let in sort of Eastern European blondes or like meaner baddies from the Middle East, the European women would form SS death squads, which is true.
My good friend Gonzalo Lira, I know people like in the manosphere are very divided on him, but my good friend Gonzalo Lira, he had this video where he red pilled people on Slavic women. He's like, if you don't have experience, bro, like you're not going to make it with Slavic women. So maybe Ukrainians, maybe other forms of Slavic, maybe Romanians, but Russian women, no, it's not gonna work. You gotta be really high up there. You gotta.
It's funny because
it is funny annoying white women now. I'm not gonna lie. Yeah. I'd be lying if I said there wasn't a part of me that doesn't get great joy from just winding up like trad, quote unquote trad e-girl, right-wing e-girls on Twitter. It's just by being me. It's always entertaining.
Yeah, it is. It is funny though. I mean, well, that was one of the jokes that I made. Right when this current conflict that's going on in Eastern Europe kicked off. The only thing I care about it is Ukraine's supply of hot, big-titted blondes. That's the only thing I care about.
Well, Trudeau wants to bring in plenty of them now that the men are getting drafted again. There you go. That's terrible. Why did I even say that? That's disgusting. They're calling
free Ukrainian GF.
Yeah. Maybe there's hope for everybody else in the spheres, the frogs.
Maybe you could take in a Ukrainian refugee.
I'd have to kayfabe my Russia shilling though. That's the only problem. Because you were like, Gio, why do you like Vatnik? Gio, why you Vatnik? What are you putting shill? I'm like, oh my god. I'd have to I'd have to get it like an Azov baddie. No, I'm kidding. Please don't clip that. No Azov
baddies.
They're all black metal groupies, right? They're all band groupies. The Azov women, the spinny wheels. Yeah, because
what are they? Eliza Blue.
But the ones you see with the spinny wheels in like the $1,000 cam armor, like those are all basically. And around like Azov there, around the Sea of Azov, and especially in Mariupol, they used to have these black metal festivals. And if you know anything about women who are into metal groupies, I'm not gonna say it, but they were essentially just basically black metal, National Socialist black metal groupies. And I'm sure like a lot of them got married or whatever to certain Azov people, but the whole that was essentially just like Gladio propaganda that they would take these attractive Ukrainian women and pass like these images around in Telegram with like the spinny wheels. Yeah. Apparently a lot of them left though. A lot of after Azov got, a lot of them surrendered in Mariupol. There were some of them in the Azovstal bunker with them, but then they left. And a lot of those chicks are probably on OnlyFans from Poland and Russia now. So, there was this one Azov groupie that actually did interracial stuff and gangbangs. And there was, I remember.
How do you know this, Gio? Exactly.
Well, it was on a Telegram post. It was Slavic. Okay. It was on a Russian Telegram channel.
Do you think any of them are currently inside the castle of a famous Romanian that is now being, detained for?
I'd imagine
he's probably not Romanian, is he?
Well,
he lives in Romania.
Individual who is residing in, Romania. My God,
I think he did have a lot of Ukrainian women.
I wouldn't be surprised at all.
Oh yeah.
But I guess back to mids and men ranking them and everything like this about it being shallow. I still stand on my point that this is something that all guys do. It's the thing that guys are always going to do. So you might as well just accept it and live with it, and not spurg out about it. Just sorry, ladies, everyone is going to be looking at you, and everybody behind your back is going to be rating you. Just deal with it.
In the chat.
Just going back to what I was saying before we got massively off topic. I didn't talk about how women rate men, and that is basically women have no concept of a mid man. They don't really have a concept.
I think they do.
No. Because when it comes to purely physical attractiveness, they rate most men as unattractive, and then maybe like 20% of men are sort of mid to attractive, and the other 80% are just ugly.
But wouldn't the gay best friend fit the criteria of a mid man?
Yeah, but most men are not gay best friends.
Yeah. I question how common that trope actually is, and if it's not just
depends on the city, depends on the location.
Yeah,
in New York, Toronto, they're full of them. Anywhere in Canada, really, you're gonna have gay best friends. But it's funny. Bourgeois Beatnik's just dropping fire in the chat. He said, he's saying that this is pearls. They can smell desperation or scheming. It's a turn on. It's not a turn on. Here's another one. The more you ignore her in her presence, the crazier it makes her.
That's very true as well.
Is that true?
Yeah.
I guess simping is wrong then.
One of the best things you could do, and it's absolutely amazing when this comes out, is like when a girl finally goes into like overt communications, like I really, really want you, and you just deny it. Yeah, it definitely can set her into a complete tizzy, for sure.
But then what's the threshold?
One interesting thing about women, a very dark part of the female psyche is that a great many women will be more attracted to and want you more if you're already in a relationship, which is
I
didn't really believe that until I started really being in like a long-term serious relationship. I didn't believe that, and now I do, because it is.
They literally
it do be like that.
They come out of everywhere. They come out of holes in the wall. They come out of flower pots, under the floorboards, everywhere. They're like, "Oh, you're dating someone? Oh, let me show up now."
It's because you are desirable. Because another woman already has you. It's very strange.
It's pre-selection.
Well, what's that line between like strategically ignoring her to grab her attention, her need for attention, and just like how do you find that line between doing it playfully to sink her in and like her losing interest because you're being an asshole and just like totally ignoring her?
Yeah,
where's that line?
Okay, so there's a lot to unpack here. I guess like
I'm coming into the seminar. Where's the whiteboard? Get it.
Yeah, exactly. I could draw it on the screen here now, but I mean,
it's a good question, no? Like, how do you find that median?
It is because, well, here's the problem. Like, so much of this stuff that what we talk about in the manosphere, these tools of the trade, so to speak, they work. But the thing is like when they don't work, 9 times out of 10, it's actually not your fault. And it's just the chick, who is just, something's up with her. Either she's having a bad day, it's her time of the month. She got approached by another guy today, so she's not having it, so like 9 times out of 10, it's not your fault that it didn't work. Normally.
It really is a numbers game, and you see a lot of lads,
that's exactly
younger lads in these circles, they get really fixated on that one girl. And we've all done it. When we were younger, I did that when I was
one-itis.
Even sort of getting to like probably my mid-20s, and then that was when I finally actually stopped, because I finally realized that it doesn't work like that. The world doesn't work like that.
Well, yeah, it goes back to being raised as defective women, because the women, like the female mating strategy is to like hyper fixate on this one guy and attach yourself to him. But that just doesn't work for dudes. You just like hyper fixating on this one chick is just going to push her away. Funny enough, I've got a buddy of mine right now who he's shagging this recently divorced girl that's working in his office right now.
Oh my God.
And she is just absolutely, clawing at the walls to get to him. And he basically kind of wants this to stop right now because like they're working in the same office. And I was just telling him, I was like, dude, just get super clingy and she's going to leave you alone. Because if you go in there and say, oh, we're breaking this off, that's how you end up with like slash tires. That's how you end up with a call from HR. You just have to get the girl to leave you be. Yeah. So I just told him, it's like, dude, just start sending her like good morning texts, and eventually she's
start
just
out psychoing her. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Going back to the topic at hand, the fact that it is a numbers game is why the concept of the mid is so important, because mids have the numbers. And, once you realize...
You're leaving money on the table there if you don't go after mids.
Once you realize, though, that most women are mids, it doesn't seem so bad when a girl turns you down, which most will do.
Absolutely true.
Yeah,
well, the other thing too is like we have a term for it too in the sphere, slump busters. Is another term we have for them. And
what the hell is this? I've never heard of this.
Go on, I think I know, but go on.
Right, so we'll saying it. So let's say like
a grenade.
Well, no, it's kind of like you're on a dry spell, so to speak. You're going for like way more attractive chicks, and it's just not working for you. But need to get your mojo back. So it's like, oh, all right, I'll go sleep with a slump buster. Like a mid girl, or maybe even like a lower than a mid girl. It's like, oh, it's 2:00 at the bar. The lights are coming on. It's like, oh, I really want to get my shag on. There's this girl who basically like drunk goggles, essentially like, all right, I got to do it.
Oh my God, this is like. This is why I don't jive with like the PUA stuff, because this seems like instrumental reason applied to relationships. It's like I don't know, like your stats boosting your own ability to increase the fuck rate, by like going after a slump buster.
Yeah, I mean, it really just is,
That's something that happens when you break up with a girl, and like you can actually physically feel your testosterone spiking. I've been through that. I know, I'm fully serious. Like, you physically feel it.
It's you go to the wet gulch where all the hogs hang
levels, out. You literally get like this massive buff to your power levels.
Well, and actually, funny enough, when I've been in the field with some of the guys in our sphere, I'll tell you guys off air who I was with, but when we went out onto a night on the town, like, yeah, I would definitely start making approaches with, mid girls, essentially, to kind of like, charge up your batteries, and then you go out for like the way more super attractive ones. Sometimes you just need to like wet the belt, so to speak, or get your gears rolling, just the training wheels, essentially. Like, all right, I'm gonna make a couple approaches, because like the mid girls, they're just, because they're just more chatty, they're much more easier to approach, so you can kind of like warm up on your night with your sets. And it's definitely something I've done and continue to do.
I have a Twitter Padawan who I have been training, and I like to use the term, you got to grind for XP. You've got to grind for XP on the mids. JD is not the Padawan, but because he already knows, he's already like Jedi Knight level.
It's funny. I see JD in like Rhinestone's chat sometimes and stuff. It's funny when you see like guys in our sphere like cross into other areas. Like, hey,
JD is like a sort of Jedi Knight level rice boiler. He's
name is right. This is traumatizing combo for the Geo cells. Yeah,
he's had quite a lot of Geo's getting black Chinese. He's had quite a few sloppy Chinese takeaways recently, I think.
Sloppy Chinese takeaways.
Geo is in the bottom. Black pilled again.
This Padawan of mine, I won't say his name, so I don't want to embarrass him.
I just need to find one mid girl. That's it. I just need to
grind for XP. And another thing I've been trying to tell him is that, and this is quite subversive as well, is that like you can't. Especially because he's at university or what you would call college. And if you're in the UK, you can't become overly fixated on white women either.
Oh, man. Oh, no.
This rustles a few jimmies, because if you're starting out at the bottom, as I said, you've got to grind for XP on the lower level women. And the non-white women are generally the lower level women.
I don't co-sign on. It's like, who are you going to piss off? You're going to piss off like normie, anti-racist people by saying that non-white women are like low tier, or you're gonna piss off like white nats by like coal burning.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I wasn't necessarily suggesting like black women, because there is, about maybe half the world's population that is between white and black. So those are the ones who quite often are receptive to you if you are Hawaii. And they are, you've got to grind for XP. And I keep telling him this, because when you're like a teenager in your late teens, you've got to learn about women somehow, because it's not like the olden days where you caught the Aryan trad wife. It just doesn't work like that. And if you want to get the Aryan trad wife, unfortunately, you first have to grind by ploughing the rice fields, or just banging the mids, talking to the mids who are a bit sluggish. You've just got to do it, unfortunately. And a lot of the right-wing autists, terrible. They don't understand it. They don't get it. They want to remain pure area, like pure, and I sympathize for them and I get it, but it's like they're setting themselves up to fail sort of 80-90% of the time.
It's very true. Like if you don't have, these skills developed, and they absolutely are skills, like basically like a chick to attract a man just literally needs to show up. And like guys from all walks of life will come up and talk to her. Basically, she really doesn't have to put in that much work to it. But the guy, being the hunters that we are, you absolutely have to lead the interaction, and it does require some skills, and it does require mostly a lot of failures, which honestly is the best way to learn. Like when I have guys reach out to me in like DMs, like asking me like, oh, how do I learn? It's like, dude, you just have to go out and do it, and you're gonna fail like 9 times out of 10, but you're gonna learn so much more from failures. And this is something that me and my buddy Jack Napier talk about all the time. Speaking of which, I'll be on a show tomorrow night, guys. So you guys go check that out. But we talk about this all the time, that you learn so much more from your failures than you do like your successes and these kinds of things.
There are sort of women in these spheres who say, no, I I'm not interested in a man with like a really high body count.
Stop.
And I think there's probably some truth to that if you're talking hundreds, but there's nothing women find more subconsciously turn off and pathetic than a man who basically has little to no experience, right? So
no way, really?
Yeah, they can smell the fact that you.
Oh, then I'm done for. That's it. It's over for me.
It's a turn off for them. They can smell the inexperience.
Well, that's what Time Stealer's talking about. Like, you just got to level up.
You got to grind for XP, baby.
Like that.
Yeah.
No, I mean, like it's just learned skills. It's charisma.
It's unironically over.
No.
I mean,
absolutely.
It's over.
Hashtag not all. You know, you might find the wholesome sort of art hoe who's not actually a hoe femcel. Yeah. You might find the wholesome femcel.
The other thing about this too is like, us guys who do have a benefit in this regard, in the sense of, I mean, whether it was Darwin or whether it was God, someone's looking out for us in this regard, that, women are attracted to older men. So you definitely get a grace period, so to speak, throughout your 20s and your 30s. If you're maxing out your stats, so to speak, you absolutely can date women that are significantly younger than you.
But Red Hawk, haven't you listened to all the female commenters on Twitter saying that a man who is 31 dating a 23-year-old is weird and creepy? Haven't you heard that, Red Hawk?
Yeah.
No, like here's the thing, okay? Like, this is what I despise about that particular discourse, as much as I have a deference to, like, listening to, like, what women have to say. That is, like, absolutely terrible to me, because it basically just punishes late bloomers that, like, maybe are, like, autistic or don't have, like, those skills or tried to build something else in their 20s. And it's like, as soon as they want to have a family and find, like, a younger woman, because let's face it, by the time they're, like, at the age of, like, 33, I'm sorry, but it's going to be harder to have a large family, obviously. Like, this is biological reality. So it just punishes late bloomer men. Like, that's all it does. It just basically consigns you to inceldom forever. And that's
not necessarily.
What I mean?
I think it's a bigger issue for, like, late bloomer women as opposed to late bloomer men.
It's late bloomer women. It's
but I mean, like, saying that a 30-year-old
you're in serious trouble.
Like a 23-year-old woman is, like, creepy or pedophilic or I shouldn't say it for YouTube. Like, cheese pizzaist or whatever. Like, that's
absolutely ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous.
It's coke from women in their 30s.
It's coke from the roasters.
Exactly. They want to be dating the 30-something chads. So they get triggered when the 30-something chads are dating 20-somethings. Like
Aristophanes had this right on the bullet, like hit it right on the head 2,500 years ago with his play Assembly Women, when the women of Athens take over, and the first law of the Institute is that all the young virile men are forced to have sex with the elderly women. Like that's literally the man was on the nose long ago. He was woke to feminism 2,500
This is like
years
some sort
ago.
of Bronze Age pervert, sort of get the right-wing Aryan bodybuilders in and just pay them lots of money to fuck all the 40-something.
The giant pussy holes, as Bap said once.
About just fuck all the 40-something journalists. Yeah,
it's funny though. I have heard Bap talk about this as a viable strategy for like young right-wingers to
I believe in the MILF pill, man. Yeah, you need the MILF pill. The MILF pill is dangerous.
That's what Muhammad did, actually, incidentally.
That is true. Yeah. That is true.
No, but it's dangerous because you could grow an attachment to them in a quasi-Oedipalized relationship. And then when it comes time when you're a bit older, it's like, what are you going to do? You can't have kids. Maybe like it's very difficult or it's impossible to have kids with this woman.
You just divorce her and take half the money. Problem solved.
And no, but this is someone who likes the MILFs, but it's painful, but you got to realize that the MILFs
you're essentially like her boy toy,
Yeah.
I'll tell you this though, and like I was saying earlier about my buddy who is shagging this recently divorced chick who's 5 or 6 years his senior, is that the women that are in their late 30s and like into 40s, oh man, they just love being objectified. It's nuts. It is absolutely crazy.
Because the female body when it approaches 40, it essentially has a closing down sale. Where the women, no, really, this is a biological thing. I'm not joking. Where they get super horny because the body knows it's starting to run out of time, and so that's why they will just fucking shag anything.
One egg left.
Yeah, because the eggs are down to so low, they know they need to improve fuck rate if they're going to get pregnant. And obviously, these women, most of them don't want to get pregnant, but that doesn't stop them from being really horny because biology is biology. And so
there's other ones that just conveniently forgot their birth control.
The horny milk thing, that's where that comes from. Like it is a real phenomenon for real biological reasons.
Absolutely. Wrap it up, please. You do not want to be having illegitimate children out there, because you would not believe the amount of cases where, oops, forgot to take the pill. It's like, and then your life is basically completely screwed, as a dude. If you're not married to this chick and you're stuck, that's literally it. You want to talk about it's so over? That's it. It's so over. So do not make that mistake.
Don't have illegitimate children with a 40-year-old MILF.
The problem is the Bronze Age step warrior idea with like Genghis Khan levels of children don't exactly work in like modern divorce court societies.
Yeah, I know.
Family court societies. It's kind of, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Oh, of course, Joshua talking about army wives. Like,
I was just about to say.
I saw that.
It's like, oh man, yeah. Oh, that's the horror stories. Gio, did you ever read Ryan's book, Fuck Files?
I think I have. Yeah, I've read excerpts. But...
Yeah. He talks a lot about
when he was in the Navy.
The horror stories of like the Navy wives and everything like this. Like, holy shit. His new book is fantastic, by the way. It's very, very good. Just came out a couple weeks ago. But yeah, so on the subject of, men dating down, like women that are significantly younger than them, and then everybody else spurting out about it. This is one of these things that I absolutely will die on this hill, without exception, is that men should not be taking, dating advice from women, basically at all, as far as I'm concerned.
Pretty much.
They don't, women just, they do not understand the male experience at all. They don't understand what it's like to go out and hunt. They don't understand, basically how... My buddy Aaron Clary makes this joke a bunch. It's like, if a girl was to go up to you and like make a cold approach, the first thing that's going to go into your mind is like, where's the sniper? Like, something's wrong here. He's going to take me out, like something's wrong here.
Where's the camera?
Yeah. It's like, all right. MTV.
Where's the TikTok video?
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah. No, but I think like women can provide you a certain insight, but just you can't trust them on very mercenary things like dating advice. Like, because a lot of it is like, I hate to say it, like, as much as I'm a women respecter, it is intersexual competition. That's like really like that. Like, maybe you can elaborate on that, boys. Like, when people mean intersexual competition, like when women purposefully give you bad dating advice, like, is it that they're consciously giving you that, or it's just that their female perspective is skewering their view of it? Like,
it's kind of, it could be like it could be a lot of things. Yeah.
Women have like this. Women have this idealized version of themselves,
of the man that they want.
There's the actual real version of themselves, and as soon as the emotions come into play, the ideal version goes out the window. Which is why a lot of these trad right-wing e-girls are just full of shit. Because like as soon as like Giga Chad comes along, like a lot of the stuff they're looking for, like he's living out of his car or whatever. But because he's fucking jacked and he's got big dick and he's just charismatic, they don't care about I want to be the housewife, blah 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 blah, because he's Giga Chad. And so women say one thing, but in reality, it's got nothing to. It's got the stuff they want will help in a long-term relationship. To be honest, that is true. But when it comes to actually getting the woman's attention, it has nothing to do with
they've got no idea, and there's a couple things going on here. I mean, number one, what Time Stealer is hitting at here is one of the cardinal rules of all, pickup artistry, if you will. It's that don't listen to what women say, watch what they do. Well, and you're going to see the discrepancy in that all the time. When they say, "Oh, I really like the really nice guy," it's like, well, how come you only date assholes? Like exactly.
That's the classic one.
Yeah.
Like if you go up to some girl and you are like Big Book's autist coder, many such cases on right wing Twitter, like you go and give her your bank statement, and you've got loads of money in the bank. Even if she is right wing e-girl trad calf number 66751, that's not going to work, sunshine. Even if she says she wants this, even if you are wholesome virgin six-figure husbando material.
Yeah, this is what Vox Day talks about this a lot when he brings up gamma males, is that they autistically try to rationalize their way into women's pants. You know, they're like, exactly.
It's
all about
video
feels.
Game.
Yeah, it's about feels.
Did you guys ever play Mass Effect 3? Did you guys ever play?
I've heard of it.
You would get in order to fight off the Reaper invasion of the galaxy through the game, you would assemble war assets, and if you had a certain a percentage of war assets, a certain amount of them, it would unlock better and better, sort of more successful endings. And these guys think it's like that with women. If you unlock enough assets, you think then you will get the girl. It doesn't work like that at all, unfortunately.
I took a test once, and apparently I'm a gamma. I can't believe this. This is incredible. Like, why? Like, it's
maybe the contention that so many people, and Ryan would absolutely say this too if you were to ask him about this, Geo, is that like these descriptions of like the social sexual hierarchy that Vox Day came up with, they're interesting for like our autistic internet purposes of like seeing men in,
I think it was to place him at the top of it.
well yeah, there's definitely that, but also it's like it's just not useful for you like to go and like approach a girl saying like, oh, I'm a delta, I'm a gamma. It's like it's never gonna work. They just don't register things in this manner. It's never gonna work for you.
Interestingly, I have a bit of a controversial view on this one, in that I think that the only difference between an alpha male and a beta male is that the alpha male is a natural leader. And I actually think that most men who get categorized as alphas are actually betas, and that the majority of men are actually gammas and deltas.
Yeah, probably.
And the majority of men are absolutely deltas.
When a woman says she wants an alpha male, what she means is an alpha, a beta, or a sigma. Like that's what she means. Like I said, literally,
she wants an above average.
Beta males, in my definition, are usually almost as successful as alpha males, because the only difference is that they lack leadership qualities.
Yeah, in Vox's description, he definitely says it as much. But this is the problem, because like the terms are used in so many different ways. Like beta is supposed to be like soy boy or like a soy jack or something like that, and alpha is like
in reality, like the beta is actually quite high status because he's friends with the alpha, and he's part of the alphas in a circle. Whereas
the beta's like a loyal soldier.
Most guys are like sat on the other corner of the room on a chair, just crying to themselves.
No, but isn't the gamma sort of like an autist that lacks like social awareness, but also has high intelligence, but is resentful because of it because they feel like they deserve better? I think that's what. I have some of those traits, but it's like these are very flexible. Like I feel like gammas. I guess gamma would be like, I wouldn't want to say like the Saint Raj personality, but definitely like someone who wants to overturn that hierarchy, but is resentful. Whereas like what's the nomad one? Not a sigma.
Sigma's like Sigma is like a beta or an alpha, but they don't really care about the social hierarchy.
I think gammas want that, but it's just that they were resentful of the social hierarchy. So it's like, I don't know, how would you describe gamma? Like I feel like that's a misunderstood. We don't know what we mean by beta.
Yeah, I mean, I describe it just the same way that Vox describes it. I mean, famously, he put Jordan Peterson as a gamma, which, which is more or less, I mean, kudos to Vox Day. I mean, he's kind of been vindicated on his Jordan Peterson takes at this point, for sure. But
I don't
what
even
is like
think,
the actual definition?
I don't even think about gammas and deltas. That Mad Men meme? It's like John Hammond. I don't even think about you at all. I just don't think about them.
The official definition is basically what we have been describing. High intelligence in a certain field. They tend to get really obsessive, autistic. They try to weasel their way into a woman's pants like rationally, which is just not how it works. Vox puts them one level lower than deltas. Deltas are just like your normal dudes, like your guy who works in the factory, basically.
Mass individual.
But Vox would describe that like most university professors and journalists and like nerds in high school, those would have been gammas.
I see. But there's sort of like So here I'm consulting the Oracle of Urban Dictionary. Develop grudging and respect in sexual relationships. They can be clinging towards a few people they relate to. Use those that they don't respect, or be very detached if they have found happiness in their personal pursuits. Socially, gammas are usually nice, but can turn vicious if personal space is threatened. They reject prevailing morality. Why did maybe that test was flawed? I don't seem like a gamma, but that's maybe it was something like
it's probably very flawed. I mean, because like again, much of these things just aren't useful for, everyday life kind of deal, aside from, schizo posts on right-wing Twitter.
They reject prevailing morality, can be extremely cynical, manipulative. They also find their own way, often drifting towards quasi-Buddhistic worldview. Yeah, I could see that. Like a lot of nerds and like having been a little bit in academia, most professors fit this bill. Like I'm talking staggering amount of majority professors. Both men and women fit this bill. A lot of professors are like this. Yeah.
Remember when we were going to talk about mids on this stream?
It's funny because I was just about to circle back to it, but I did want to touch on one thing when Gio was saying earlier about how like women give like bad advice to like other men in their groups kind of deal.
Yeah. Why do they do it? Yeah.
Well, part of it definitely is like, I think at a deep level, like all women know that they're pretty much all alike and they all kind of respond to the same things. And they kind of feel it's kind of like a self-preservation kind of deal. It's like, oh, if I expose the tactics to this guy, he's going to potentially use them on me. It's like one of the worst fears that women have is like to be tricked, to be duped, into sleeping with a guy. Yeah, to give up the game. This is what Rolo talks about all the time. It's like women don't want to be told they're playing the game. They just want a guy who gets it. And that's very true, and this is one of the contentions I have with people on Twitter and stuff who like will complain about, guys using, like a PUA tactics or whatever. It's like, dude, like just get in the game, man, and just go and win. Like you trying to rationalize with the chick saying, oh, you shouldn't be playing this game because you could be taking advantage of, the Andrew Tates of the world. Like you might as well just be pissing into the wind, so just go get good,
Or it's non-consensual, apparently.
That's there's that too.
There's like 2010s feminist, like, Jezebel article type stuff. But it's like, I understand, like, if you're outright like lying about who you are, like, I'm like Giga Chad, I get, I'm rich, I have Bugatti, my color of Bugatti is green. Like I'm not a brokey. Like that's different. Like that's just being a sociopath. But I feel like all men, it's not that it's okay. It's not that we lie. Okay, we lie. Yes, we lie. But it's not that we lie. I think most men, they like to present a good version of themselves.
Well, everyone does that. What do you think makeup
women
is?
do this. Yeah.
It depends if you just want to get pussy or if you actually want a long-term relationship. Because if you want a long-term relationship, you kind of have to be honest.
Well,
a bit more honest.
Yeah.
I argue that you need to get the first and either to remotely consider the second.
True.
Is my
that is true.
Like
that
you should absolutely try to sleep with a girl as quickly as possible to put the girl into your frame, basically. Now the ball's in your court.
I don't know if I co-sign that as a
well,
no, I get what you mean.
Yeah.
That is but now the ball's Christian.
But it works. Now the ball is in your court. The ball's in your court. And the chick can basically decide like, oh, okay, now I could woo this guy to stick around. Women have this, fantastic way to basically, for lack of a better word, like gaslight themselves into their own decisions. So it's like, oh, if I've slept with this guy, then, there's got to be some great things about him. Maybe I'll give him more of a look and everything like this.
Most women make the decision first and then justify it afterwards.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely true.
Oh, we have Charlemagne in the chat. Hello, my friend.
Indeed, he is in the chat. Let's go through two of these super chats real quick. JD, sent one earlier here. God, give me the confidence of a TikTok mid. Boy, do they have them, especially when
that gym chick was a mid. Like, I wouldn't even find her that. Like, I mean, she was all right, but she wasn't. She like, what? Like, narcissism is such a big turnoff for me. That's like, ugh. Like, she knew what she's doing. Like doing those hip thrusts.
Oh yeah.
With terrible form.
Exactly.
If narcissism is a turnoff, have you considered becoming a homosexual, Gio?
No, but like that psychotic level of like, like what she was doing, like basically trying to like ruin a dude's life through the internet. That's like, I might consider becoming homosexual.
Yeah, Charlemagne is correct.
Sixth sense to know how big it is.
It is true.
Maybe
women do
the energy. Let's see. Son of Haster here. Out at dinner, but I'm glad to see my good friend Geo on the panel tonight. Yes,
thank you,
of
Son of
course.
Haster, longtime follower of mine. Thank you, my friend.
Yeah, Geo provides good value, of course. So smart guy.
But about the mid though, like we were, what was my point? Like okay, before like you were talking about attraction, okay, and for the longest time, like okay, I don't know, like what would you say about this? This thesis that a woman knows if like they're into you, and if like there's no immediate feeling, then it's pretty much hopeless. Or do you feel that you could basically sign up, but like you basically sign up a woman into liking you? I don't know.
I mean, it's definitely possible. Like you can. The question is like, how much effort do you really want to put into that when you could just
into your one-itis?
Yeah. I mean, do you really want to do that? Or there was a guy in my chat coming in here, I think it was like 1 or 2 weeks ago, who was basically talking about the situation that you described, and my just response to it was like, why aren't you talking to other women? I mean, like, it's really unhealthy for guys that, and you know what, so much of this I think comes from like Disney fairy tale nonsense that we're fed as kids, that our mom and dad like met each other and their eyes just crossed from across the room at the homecoming dance, and they kissed each other Back to the Future style, and immediately they were just love at first sight. It's like, dude, that's probably like complete bullshit. Like your mom and your dad, your mom and your dad have had multiple partners beforehand, not necessarily sexual, if you want to go like Tradcath and stuff, but they absolutely had been like previous relationships before and stuff like this. They had to figure out what they liked in the opposite sex. They had to figure out how to track each other and stuff. I mean, like, I would not be surprised if guys really did sit down, especially and talk to their dads, like, okay, dad, how many girlfriends did you really like have? How many dates did you really go on? I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if some of them would find them in the triple digits. I wouldn't be surprised at all.
That'd be funny.
It really is a numbers game.
You're some sort of like autist right-wing incel, and you talk to your dad, and he was like an absolute dog back in the day. He was just slaying pussy everywhere. That'd be so funny.
Before we wrap up here, let's talk about some hope for the mids. I mean, I saw plenty of women that we know in these circles and spaces that say that they're team mid. So what would we say would like be some hope for the mids? I'll say this. I think that women stress a lot about what guys find physically attractive in a woman. I think there is some truth to be said about like, Victoria's Secret, kind of stuff. It's like, oh, well, I'm not going to look like that, so I'm going to get really like Debbie Downer and stuff. It's like, to all the mids listening, it's like guys will basically screw anything, so it's not all, like doom and gloom for you. You absolutely can make up multiple points on the scale that we were talking about before if you just have a good personality and know how to have a good conversation, and just how to communicate and talk.
Female mids just need to do the same thing that men do and just be a bit more realistic.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, ladies. You just need to be realistic.
You know what's funny? There's some women. There's this one chick on Twitter that like unfollowed me because I was joking with Billy Pratt in the TL once. What's her name? She's like this mid, like 30-year-old. Like, just the thing with trad women is that they will like tolerate like right-wing worldview for so long, but as soon as a right-wing man incel like states their true desires, they'll revert instantly back to feminism. No problem.
Oh yeah, many such cases.
Cases. And so basically this woman was talking about how to say like that, or it could have been some like leftoid like irony cell woman. I screen capped it, but they deleted my reply because it's like, you know what? It's not worth it. But essentially she was saying if to say that women have to lower their standards is a confession of all men, that they're not good enough. And I'm like, no, you don't realize that the world today is complicated, and that the perception that like social media and dating apps and so forth and like the online world has given young women is so fundamentally skewed that realistically a relationship is something you work on, is something that is a mutual engagement. It's not like this fucking Disney sorry, I shouldn't swear right off.
No, go for it.
Yeah, but it's not this fucking Disney princess bullshit where it's like you have this immediate attraction, this guy will sweep you off your feet. You know what the problem is it's like the Hallmark movie reality. You know what Hallmark movies are? They're pornography. They're emotional pornography for older women. Okay.
Yeah.
And so they have this fantasy of the perfect guy that's kind of rugged, but yet he's well mannered, right? And he's like Giga Chad, but yet he's like some kind of
you see this
an emotional problem because his wife died and he's left with a kid, and so therefore it's like she's immediately has a family and she saves Christmas. She rejects.
You guys are laughing, but this is so ingrained even into something like 50 Shades of Grey. I was talking about this with Vince from Masculine Geek a couple of weeks ago when we were talking about BDSM.
You think Grey, what's his name? The character in
Christian Grey, like this guy's a super alpha, like BDSM, like god dude, and he's taking the the woman's initiative and things. It's like, are you fucking kidding me? It's like that's not how this goes in any of these circumstances.
First of all, do you know what real bondage couples look like? Like, do you know?
Oh, well, yeah, there's that, but
it's incredible. I'm actually reading this Vogue article on mids, or this Teen Vogue article on mids, and it's hilarious.
Why are you reading Teen Vogue, Gio?
No, because I just googled mids and mid girls, and it's like all these articles from like these listicles from like 2010s feminism is still like Tumblr feminism is still like haunting us. It's a hauntology in the air of all of us. So it's all these like thought catalog, Jezebel, what was a really popular one? Exo Jane. You remember Exo Jane? Like R.I.P. Exo Jane. Rest in piss, you won't be missed. But it's funny though, but the whole mid discourse is so fundamentally skewed because like it really, yes, does it offend me as a man? Because traditionally I've gone for women who aren't exactly, the prize pig in the county fair, and like I've been rejected. Okay, yes, it does sting when you say that women should lower their standards. But at the same time, everyone, I feel, is under the same pressure of modernity, and therefore you can't blame men or women. And you have to be realistic about these things if you truly do want a family or someone that loves you.
I was talking to Philosophicat about this once, actually, about how it basically is a feedback loop, and
it's a very interesting mix. You talking to Philosophicat? That's
we were on I think it was one of Semigog streams together, and this topic came up. But she's interesting. We've talked about astrology back and forth to each other because like
she gets a lot of heat though, being like a right wing woman, and still
of course, like and being an attractive one at that too, but anywho, oh shit, what was I gonna say? Someone else talk, it'll come flying back to me.
No, but like she gets a lot of heat because they're like, oh, you're not married, you don't have kids yet. Like it's I like, it's funny though, there is a high propensity of what do you call it, Ann Coulter syndrome of like, right-wing women who don't get married. Like there's a lot though. I mean, it's not like always the case. Like I feel like a lot of explicit right-wing women, they do think like men, and that's probably what keeps them from
because they're very autistic.
Yeah, that's true. There's
so
a lot,
I remember what I was going to say. So basically, like, Gio, you were talking about like social media and stuff warping the minds, and it's not just that. Like this feedback loop from all the women being on social media, you'll see this so many times. I actually had this experience recently. Is that like a girl's friends will actively sabotage her relationship if like the guy tries to enforce a boundary, and then she goes and talks to her girlfriends about it, and the girls will all be like, oh my god, that's toxically masculine, you shouldn't have to put up with that, you shouldn't be putting up with this guy, ditch him and go get a new one, you go girl. And it happened to me recently with one of my girls. It's just like, okay, well, feminist relapse. The friends.
One of your girls, Red Hawk. Explain this term. One of your girls.
Oh,
well, you know about the plates, Gio?
I know he's spinning some plates, but how many plates are there?
I don't like going any higher than 3.
Is it polycule levels? Is it AL
food? What kind of food is on these plates? Is it purely burgers and fries, or is there some rice on there?
How do you date 3 women at once? Do you have to have like a spreadsheet? Do you have to like rationalist, polycule, Silicon Valley Max? Or
the thing is like you kind of like keep in like a tier system. Like there's a tier 1, that you want to see way more of. There's the tier 2 that you want to see like a little bit less of. And then the third one is kind of like just recreational use only. But I only like 2 or 3. But it's just, it's just how it goes,
How do you have time?
I don't believe me. I do
it's
not.
It's bad enough having one.
To quote that one line from The Devil's Rejects, man, you got it set. You got pussy on cold and hot on tap. Probably doesn't work that way. But.
The thing is like the reason why you do this, the reason why you spin the plates, which essentially is how women date as well. Like, don't ever think that the girl doesn't have like other dudes she's talking to.
Oh yeah, there's tons of those TikToks. Yes.
Yeah, it happens all the time. And it's like, yeah, so you kind of are basically sampling stuff from the buffet. It's like, okay, this girl's great. I want to see her more. And if she continues to be great, then I want to see her more and more and more. And eventually you get to the point where you just get into a relationship, because eventually she's going to ask you for it. And if she's so great, I'm like, yeah, you know what? I could stand just being around this girl. I can kick the other two to the side, which absolutely has happened to me multiple times before. It's like, okay, I'll just keep one around, because like she's pretty great. But
you just keep one around, and then you finally have time to go fishing.
Well, yeah, exactly.
But then what happened? Like, what like did these relationships end eventually? Like, what's the in other words, like, like what is preventing you from like going and living like the trad life, trad wife type of?
It's just not a goal for myself right now.
I see.
Yeah, I mean, like would it be? Well, and the other thing as well is like, try finding like an actual woman that's really down to be, trad in that manner. These days it's not easy, and also like, I'm not gonna lie, I'm very difficult to date. That's the other thing.
Me too.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
I have that problem as well.
I'm difficult. I'm very difficult. So,
it has excessive levels of patience for dealing with me. I've been walking around since this morning, going fucking VB long neck.
Yeah, but I'm not.
But
I'm not at all opposed to like monogamy. I'm not opposed to it. Like the chick would just have to be really, really special, because.
Well, this came up in the AA stream you did.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, I would not be opposed to it.
But what do you mean by difficult to date? Is it just your personality, or is it just that you have standards, or what is? Or is it you find it?
It's a bit of both. Like,
or you just want exoticism when it comes to women, or is it just
it's not really
variety.
I mean, well, obviously, like all guys like variety, absolutely. I mean, like the old joke is like, no matter how hot that girl is, some guy somewhere is tired of fucking her,
Yeah, true.
Which is absolutely true. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, like, do I get the itching to want to go out and hunt? Yeah. I mean, of course. But, at the same time, it's like, it's a lot of work. And, if you have like this one girl who's like pretty much great in all regards, it's like, okay, do I want to get rid of her so I can go out and hunt again and get shot down like 9 times out of 10 and go through all this effort? No, not really. And the other thing as well is like, women are actually fun. They're fun to have around. They're enjoyable, So yeah. So I'm totally fine with, being with just one. They just have to be super exceptional. And I also just have to be in the right, headspace and goals for myself at that time, like to actually want to settle down in that regard. But that's not really a goal for me for at least the next like 4 or 5 years. That's when I could actually see myself really starting to think about, something long term. I'm never getting married though. That absolutely is not on the table for me.
Really?
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that.
You ever have kids one day?
No, I'd be fine with that, but it's just like, I am not getting the state involved, with my life in that regard. The risks are just far too high. And I've seen way too many guys in my own personal family, in my own personal life, just get absolutely destroyed by the divorce system. So it's like, nope, I'm not doing this. We could totally be, a couple, we could be, husband and wife, de facto, but absolutely not, like in the eyes of the state, that is not happening. So again, a reason why I'm difficult to date, because that did come up once with one of my girls. She's just like, "Oh, I really want to get married." It's like, no, we are not doing this. This is not in the cards.
I see. So, yeah.
And that's totally fine. Like, if you're not okay with that, that's great. Then you can, go and stuff like that. I always tell people like they should be absolutely upfront, with their intentions and everything, because it's not fair.
Exactly.
It's not fair to the girl.
Yeah.
No, it's absolutely not fair to the girl if she wants something and you're just not going to give it to her. It's not fair at all to be dragging her along. Just like how it wouldn't be fair like if a girl was dragging a guy along, like friend zoning, basically. And it's literally like the exact same thing. If you're just going to use the girl for sex and like lead her on for a very long time. That's literally the same thing. And so, no, I don't encourage people to do that.
I feel like if she's not into you, like I had this when I was younger, I had this one-itis that we grew up together, and she like went out with this dude that was kind of like a loser, didn't have any, but then it's like when she was single and I started talking to her again, it's like, all of a sudden it's like I'm not good enough, right? So it's like, even though like I have by that time I had like my stuff going on like with online shit, but then I don't know, we're just two different people, and she's kind of like a bit of a floozy. I hate to say it, but it's just like it's really weird how women can rationalize like being with a loser, but then as soon as like you want to be with them, then it doesn't work out for some reason. I don't know. It's like, why do they do that? Like, that's so irrational.
Because women are not rational.
Because they are rational. Exactly.
They're not
They're not like
you don't just amass the war score and then get the good ending, Geo. Did you not listen to me?
But there were other things. There were other things too, right? Like, because when you have a history with a woman, you know what I mean? Like, she views you a certain way when you grow up as opposed to like when you're older now. So it's but like it is crazy that way. Like how, like I hate to say it, but it's just, again, this goes back to the lowering standards thing. I feel like the whole like the discourse around the mid and the femcel and all that, like it's very much, it is real, but a lot of it is socially constructed. A lot of it is the construct of the discourse around like dating and relationships. Like, it seems like our corner of the internet is very much still like, maybe because we're all like, I don't know, like we're all approaching like 30-year-old millennial status, such as myself, but it seems that we're turning into like every week the E-Rate is like devolves into a dating advice column. I don't know. It's like really weird. Maybe because we don't have anything else to talk about. Because the world is so terminally fucked. So
I mean, there's definitely that. I mean, like, not everyone's going to agree with, me or the guys that I hang out with, like in my side of the internet, about how we're addressing the clearly dysfunctional relationships between men and women right now. But, I mean, like, do you want to complain about it or do you want to succeed? Is essentially what I always come down to. And it's like, yeah, this is what is shown to be successful for me. Well, and I mean, I grew up in the trad cat sphere. I was baptized Orthodox and Catholic, so I got a double dosage in both churches, and I saw issues in both of them that actively, hindered my success with women in my younger years, and just did not give me advice how to handle things. And the manosphere fixed that for me. So, I mean, I'm always going to have a soft spot for it in that regard. But I'm not here to like shame other people into, immediately coming around to, my side of thinking with these things. There's multiple ways to skin a cat, but we just got to figure out, what's best for you in this current hellscape, because there really isn't going to be a standard path for everybody. There just isn't. Those times are gone.
What's funny though is there was this one thread the other day that Enzo wrote about the erasure of like the male. Like, he was responding to this this AGP that talked about like how being an AGP is more ethical because it's the male gaze turned inwards and doesn't actually harm women. And so he said like how like nobody really cared about these issues about like the sort of pornography to AGP cycle till it started like metaphysically harming women somehow by like, I mean, it does, but like,
are you talking about like Elliot Roger or like other cases?
No, like the AGP autogynephile, right?
Oh,
so,
I see.
Yeah.
I see.
So he's saying like, and yes, it is like men invading like women's spaces, but he said like the point is that it's not that they are subverting femininity, more that it's like submission to like supreme gynolatry by like being in love with the image of a woman to the point where you yourself become one. Or
this is probably a point that BAP makes. I agree the most with. Is this stuff railing against gynocracy and stuff like this. And
but it's really weird though, like to say that the male gaze is turned inwards, and like Enzo was saying, like this is the supreme act of like submission rather than oppression of women. It's like a submission to the gaze of the feminine by like basically subverting your own male gaze and turning it inwards. Because you have to realize that the male gaze is an engine of history, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
it's not something that's automatically a bad. Like it can become obsessive and creepy and borderline abusive. But I think that with given the proper artistic and philosophic context. The male gaze really is the engine. Like, why did we build civilization?
Yeah, exactly.
Impress women. Come on.
Exactly. That famous Paglia quote. It's like, if civilization was left to women, we'd still be in grass huts. It's like, yeah,
we had the longhouse.
Yeah. It's honestly, it's 100% true. I mean, like, I wrote about this recently in an article for Old Glory Club, basically saying it's like, the economic, if the economy was a car, the engine is men and the high octane fuel is just pretty women, and it literally has been that since the beginning of time.
It's premium gas.
It's just it's how it goes. It's like, men are always going to look at you. Men are always going to view you as objects. You're not just an object, but you will be viewed as an object first. Every single time. I mean, there's literally brain scans. Rollo Tomasi talks about this, is that the same part of the male brain that is associated with tool use lights up when you see an attractive woman. It's like men's brains literally see women as objects. I'm sorry, ladies. It's just part of the machine. We can't turn it off. It's just how it goes. But, like I was saying earlier, there is hope for the mids out there. It's like, if you're nice, fit, feminine, compliant, that's what I always say, the golden three. So if you're those three things, your looks really aren't going to matter as much, because at the end of the day, I mean, Ryan Stone, he says this all the time. He said all women are mids. Like, it's definitely true to
He's
some
right
extent.
though.
Yeah.
He's right. Like,
Yeah.
because all women are mids, because I feel like all women can become a project of your own particular gaze. I mean, I shouldn't use the word project, because project is sort of like the if you read Byung-Chul Han, he talks about how like project becomes like the mode of subjectivity in the modern world. Like, everyone becomes a project, which is like, that is inherently like alienating. But what I mean by project is that the mid can become the sort of fuel, or the sort of the material by which you craft this relationship with someone. The mid can be like, it could be a muse. It could be something that is unique to you, that you find special, even though like maybe a lot of like percentage of men would not find them. They'd be like, they're wallflowers at the bar. They're not like real, you know what I mean? They're not like in the center. They're kind of like the wallflower. But that's what I mean. That like Ryan has like a great perspective in that all women are mids is not this. It's not an insult. It's rather like a point of affirmation to say that like women can become special. They may not become like average beautiful to all men, but they can become special in the eyes of certain men, which I feel is like more powerful.
I mean, it's like your relationship is something that you work on. I mean, it can't just be about looks. Absolutely not. And that's honestly not what guys are looking for long term. I mean, like, you obviously need to be attractive, because like our soldiers got to stand and salute you. If it doesn't work, then it's never going to work. But
there has to be like a level of attractiveness. Like, but I feel like
once you're in, like, I always say this, like, looks get you in the door, but like your personality, your femininity, like compliance, these are the things that actually like have a guy invest time in you and keep you around. Well, like these are the kinds of skills you need to cultivate. It's like, once you're at like the minimum for attractiveness for the level of guy that you're looking for, like obviously like Giga Chad stuff, because he has the options of much more attractive women and he can get better behavior out of them, like he's going to go for more attractive women. But so once you just meet like the men's base requirements, that's when your personality and everything else kicks in, and that's really where your game needs to be. It's so weird, like when you see these chicks who get like Brazilian butt lifts and like the super the biggest boobs and stuff, thinking that this is gonna like land them like the super high value guy. When they don't know how to cook, they don't know how to clean, they don't know how to be kind, be feminine, have a decent conversation. It's not gonna work. You need to cultivate these kinds of skills.
I feel like I love how. I love how Bourgeois Beatnik is quoting Basho by saying, what is life to chop wood and carry water? That's very true. But no, I feel like the problem again is like the problem of the fact that like most women nowadays, they want to conform. Like, okay, I feel like the preference of most women have been hijacked to the point where it used to be that women would, like a certain level, like a certain type of man would find them attractive to the point of like metaphysical beauty. Like that's what the mid unlocks potentially. But like most women nowadays, they have like a very like homogenized idea of beauty that they want to conform to. Cause of course women are social creatures. So when you call them mid, essentially you're calling them is you're saying that they don't conform.
Yeah, they're outside the in-group.
Yeah, exactly. They're not the in-group. They're not the mass like social conformity of what we find conventionally attractive. But I feel like women overlook the fact that certain men calling them mids means that they, that they may not be special to that like meta narrative of what beauty is, but they could be special in the eyes of a quality man. And I feel like a lot of women, they forsake that because they want like, because their preferences have been totally like, poisoned. And men certainly, I hate to say it, a lot of Zoomer men, they don't know what a real woman looks like. I mean, it seems that the whole like Brazilian butt lift thing and the whole, what's the facial thing, guys?
Like Botox?
No, where they have the buccal fat removal. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's like the tranification of women. It's like, like these Zoomer guys, like these e-girls, they portray this very like caricatured neotness look, but then you have the other extreme, which is sort of like the like the sort of Julia Fox, like it's hot to be ugly, like I'm like that's, which is very millennial woman thing, like I'm a hot mess but I love it. It's like those are unrealistic like portrayals of femininity, and I feel like Zoomer men and even like millennial soy jack men, they have very like skewed understanding of women. Like the porn brain thing is unironically real, unfortunately.
It's definitely true.
Even like OnlyFans girls that are mid, they like they play up their certain features. It's very like garish and well, we could have another stream of
they look attainable. But well, this has been a very good discussion all around, and also a man's hour record for most live viewers. We topped out at 50 at one point.
Nice.
So wow. New record. So all right. Anything you gentlemen would like to shill? Time Stealer, we'll start with you.
Not particularly. Just follow me on Twitter. My pinned tweet is a excellent music video that I made a while back that will make you black-pilled, but it is also excellent. Other than that, it is. You will never know just how much they took from you. If you watch that video, you will know.
Is it Sly Sneak levels of black-pill, or is it not that high?
A little bit, but it's not. It's like a bitter. It's like a bitter sweet black pill, rather than just that it's so over black pill.
I see.
You should watch it.
All right, check that out. Geo, what do you got, man?
Today I had Digital Archipelago with Prude. Yesterday I was on Oren McIntyre's channel. We had a good stream on like movies, with Last Things, and I like this week I had a. This week I had Catherine Dion, Content Minded, and next week I probably will.
Speaking of mids,
but next week I'll probably release either like the Versaloon episode or something else. So next week Digital Archipelago is on my channel, and I see that I've managed to enrage Joshua, that he said, "How dare you call me a Gen Xer? I am a millennial. I'm an older millennial." Geo, apparently Josh, he was in senior year during 9/11. So, I was 8 years old during 9/11. So, so he's technically a millennial. He's an older millennial. He's like the MTV generation. He's like the Woodstock 99 generation.
So. He is what AA would call a Zennial.
The Zillennial. I'm core Gen Y. Like the Limp Bizkit remix of the song "My Generation." He's like Generation X. It's like you could say Generation Y, Generation Soy, and it's like.
Last minute super chat here. Seems to me that whatever chicks like, they want extreme version. They want a loser. They want a successful guy. They want big success.
It's true.
Yeah, to an extent. I mean, they have a miraculous ability to double down on their decisions, because I don't know, guys. Have you ever found a woman who's managed to take accountability for anything she does? I mean, I sure as hell haven't. So
I don't want to be that hard on women, but it is true what a Bill Hicks said once. Even though like Bill Hicks was a cringe lib, he said that if a woman fucks her life up, she could just move into yours.
Yeah, pretty much. There's always gonna be someone to save them. Yeah, just speaking to the guest one-eyed story. Yeah, definitely. They could double down For sure. Well, the only thing that I will shill, of course, is Man's Hour every Thursday. We've got the poker night stream coming up in like a half hour here, so a couple guys will be coming around just to play some cards and shoot the shit some more. Maybe we'll talk about mids more on there. Who knows? And then also tomorrow night, I'll be on Jack Napier's channel for Red Evening, so go check that out. And other than that, also check out the Old Glory Club. I put out an article there yesterday for us. It was actually about rejecting the black pill. So go take a look at that. Other than that, as always, gentlemen, hunt on and be well. We'll see you next time.